Elon Musk. The Securities and Exchange Commission wants a judge to hold the Tesla chief in contempt because of his tweets. Now, on February 19th, Elon Musk tweeted this: Tesla made 0 cars in 2011, but will make around 500,000 in 2019. The SEC is saying that that's a violation of his settlement agreement. Though Musk clarified it again, he tweeted again this: meant to say annualized production rate of end of 2019, probably around 500,000. That is 10,000 cars a week. Deliveries for years still estimated to be about 400,000. So Musk is back on Twitter again this morning. Even though these these tweets keep getting him in trouble, a Twitter user pointed out Musk's first tweet did not move the markets, although the SEC's complaint did. Musk tweeted this: exactly. This has now happened several times. Something is wrong with the SEC oversight, says Elon Musk. Joining me right now to discuss is former prosecutor and criminal defense attorney at the Bianchi Law Group, David Bruno. David, it's good to see you this morning.
Good morning.
So what do you make of all of this? I mean, you know, Elon Musk's tweeting. The SEC is watching, obviously, his Twitter feed.
Absolutely. I mean, let's just take a couple steps back. The 60 Minutes interview that he did, where he said, I have no respect for the SEC, and I don't think he would be in this present situation if it were not for that interview. In fact, in the papers that the SEC filed, they actually cite that exact transcript and saying that he has contempt. He is not following the order. And it doesn't matter that he corrected it because he didn't have the oversight and he didn't get the pre-approval to do it in the first place.
So what is the wrongdoing? What the settlement says what? That he can't make predictions like that?
Well, it's anything material to the company needs to be oversaw and pre-approved by counsel. And
you can't just do it on Twitter.
You can't, exactly. That's what got him into the problems in the first place last year when he talked about private funding. Right, so that is the reason for the settlement agreement. Right, exactly. That's the reason for the settlement in the first place.
I mean, a CEO cannot give forward-looking statements anytime he wants, and so he's
a CEO of a public company.
Well, wait a minute. I mean, he can. It's just most companies are maybe a little more careful about crafting what that forward-looking statement is going to be before it goes out.
Well, it has to go through an accuracy perspective of whether the forward-looking statement is accurate.
And who are you making the forward statement to?
Otherwise, it's manipulating the stock.
You can't just say it in a room of analysts. You've got to have a public forum.
And I think they can as long as it's true. And it's not a misrepresentation.
The accuracy.
And it's accurate.
Okay.
Right? Because that was his problem last year.
But I think his argument is that while this particular exact tweet may not have been pre-approved, the general concept of sharing this type of information has been?
Correct. That's his argument. He dates back to the January 30th report and also the transcript of the call with the investors. The problem is it's not verbatim. It's not the same. And in the policy that Tesla actually came up with, it said that if it's after 2 days, it has to be reapproved. So that's 30 days before. So even if it was accurate, it still had to be reapproved, and he did not go through that process.
And if I'm not mistaken, that tweet, he did have a mulligan because he changed the facts. I mean, he went from 500,000 to 400,000.
Right. Well, initially he said, we're going to produce 500,000.
Right.
Then he clarified. He said, I'm talking about annual production rate. Right. So was he accurate? No, he wasn't accurate.
Right. He had a mulligan. That's all I'm saying.
So what is the law on mulligans? Like if a company puts out a earnings release and shortly thereafter says, oh, do-over, this is what we meant, are they fine, or does that tend to be a serious problem?
Yeah, I think generally if it's corrected and it's not an intentional act, I think the company would be okay. However, this is a different situation because he's under a settlement order as we speak with the SEC. And it's not just about the misrepresentation. It's about the procedure that he went through, and he didn't get the prior approval.
I've been on a public board. Social media is likely very new to public boards. Sure. And the idea that we have a CEO who's such a rock star like Elon Musk, that everyone's listening to everything. It's one of the high shorts in the market, one of the high longs in the market. It's trading at a multiple a lot of people don't really understand. People are watching everything he says every minute of the day.
But the SEC is not new to any public board and any CEO. And he went online on social media, on Twitter in August and said something that wasn't true.
Right.
Period.
Fully funded.
He said funding secure. Headquartered.
Right,
remember that in early August, and multiple people reported that they had not. They were still trying to line up potential investors and buyers when he said that. So that was not true. He's in trouble because of that, and he keeps poking the bear. Well, eventually, they're going to come after you. They're going to get you. And you can call that wrong or not, but they're going to go through every single thing that he says on Twitter, everything, whether it's an emoji or not, everything that he says publicly in a public forum, and they're going to go after him. In this instance, because they corrected it, that they're probably not going to bar him from acting as in management capacity at a public company. Keep going. Keep at it. He's going to get in more trouble unless they can rein him in, or he can control himself, which he doesn't seem to be able to at this point.
You agree with that?
Yeah, I agree. I think he may be subject to sanctions if the contempt is actually found, because there are defenses here. He's going to say, I corrected it. We made diligent efforts to comply. Right? So, yeah, I don't see them suspending or barring him based on these facts, but he's still at it today, and let's see what the future brings.
He also, in his defense, he said something that he pointed out that on the quarterly conference call, somebody asked him, noted his comments from the call that suggested Model 3 deliveries could range between $350,000 to $500,000. This 500,000 units this year. He pointed that out on Twitter. So that's why he's not going to get in trouble for this. But if he keeps it up, he will get into trouble.
Yeah, on that call, it was very different, though. He was talking about the Shanghai factory, and if it was complete by the end of the year, they'd get to that growth rate. So that's not going to be a defense in my mind.
Yeah, all right, we'll leave it there. David, great insights from you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
David Bruno joining us there.